Episode 191. Komori's been waiting for Lord Aymeric to have a free slot in his busy schedule, so she and Estinian can have a meeting with him. I guess while she's been waiting, she's had the chance to think about the events back in Southern Thanalan with Lord Olorido, the Crystal Braves, and Nanamo, and all of that. All this to say that I've been doing some thinking about that whole plotline with Nanamo in between episodes, and now that it's all over, pretty much, not over, but kind of wrapped up, it kind of feels like an afterthought, doesn't it? I feel like it's a quirk of the writing that they had to move on to Heavensward and then kind of go back and forth like this with events back from Uldar or whatever, just to kind of weave in that story. And sure, it was a very important event, I guess, or a very dramatic one at least, but when you look at the status quo or how things kind of return to it, close enough anyway, it kind of feels like everything that happened didn't really matter at all, at least sometimes. Just a little bit. I think maybe a lot of people feel the same way, but I wouldn't replace that part of the story. It just feels like I'm not sure. The one thing that gets me is that Lord Olorido gets away scot-free. It feels like he was a major part of that story, but then he's just sitting at his chair, as usual, with the rest of the syndicate. The one guy that doesn't get away is Teleji Adeleji, but kind of feels like he's small potatoes, even though Lord Olorido had less to do with the actual crime of wanting to kill the Sultana. Still just doesn't sit right with me. But I guess that's supposed to be how it is. The way things were left off in that one cutscene, staring at Lord Olorido as he walked away without any punishment, still pulling the strings. Kind of feels like you can't exactly get away with things in Uldar, or you can't fix things in Uldar. But I guess there are some people that are trying to do their best, like Raubon or Nanamo or whoever else. Some things they can't fix, I guess. Just feels like it's a little bit too real sometimes. Anyway, is Aymeric ready for us? So Aymeric has been eager to speak with you. Please proceed. Oh, you mean he's been waiting for us? Yeah, I guess I've been sitting there thinking about all of that stuff for a while.
All stands ready, Lord Commander.
Ah, the moment has come then.
Pray excuse my lateness. I paid a brief visit to the workshop to inquire about the mana cutters. The engineers assure me that they're ready.
The area is now but a short flight away. Yet what a long and winding path we took to reach this point. Were it not for Master Alphino's proposal, we never would have attempted to parley with the dragons.
And that didn't turn out so great.
Though our negotiations yielded little, our expedition with Lady Isar taught us much.
I guess Estinian did kind of have a crisis of faith in the middle there. And I guess he got over it when he realized that I guess the Ishgardians didn't really, well, teach the truth in history class.
You took an unimaginable risk. I could scarce believe the tale Estinian told.
Aye, 'tis true that many of our countrymen would sooner die than join hands with the heretic's mistress. But 'twas through that most unlikely of alliances that we came to speak with Hraesvelgr.
A conversation that went rather poorly, as I recall.
In this instance, the journey was more important than the destination. Had we not slain Nidhogg's consort, Tiaman, and put the Great Worm on his guard, the Dravanians would have arrived at Ishgard's walls long ago.
Would they have? I didn't realize I was preventing the war, but I guess just by accident when climbing the mountain, fighting Tiamat, we did some good, even if it was killing, like, the enemy guy's consort that we were trying to make peace with at the time.
Aye, that they would. Full grateful am I for every hour of respite your actions have afforded us. Thanks to you, our defenses are much improved. 'Tis but a pity they won't be enough.
Thus, you believe an assault upon the area represents the city's best chance of survival. Is that not so, Estinian?
I am under no illusions. Nidhogg's might is legendary. But with his eye in my possession, I can stifle his strength at the source. Victory will be hard won, even so. And I shall be glad indeed to have the Warrior of Light at my side.
You shall have my blade as well. There are more of these mana cutters to be had, yes?
Okay. Let's sit down, Emmerich. You're not invited, but I mean, I guess we appreciate it. At least, this is a bit different, isn't it? A little bit different from some of the things we're used to, where the leaders, he's not the leader of Ishgard, but the people in charge of the places that we're helping don't exactly have the ability to help us when we need it. Just seeing him stand up and saying, "Hey, I'll join you," that's a breath of fresh air.
Lord Commander, no!
How can I, a proud knight of Ishgard, stand by and do naught while an outsider risks life and limb for our homeland? I swore an oath to protect this city.
Pray leave the slaying of dragons to dragoons, Sir Knight. Your duty to command the city's defense is no less vital. Should we fail, and Nidhogg slip through our grasp, who then will hold the walls against him? Will you leave Ishgard in the hands of the Holy Sea's zealots?
There are others.
Who but you has the authority and the standing to orchestrate a city-wide defense? I do not, and neither does the Warrior of Light. That is why it is our place to fight, and yours to remain here, Lord Commander.
Yeah, stay behind your desk, Lord Commander. At least for now.
What? You too, Master Alphino? By the Fury! You have shown some promise, but this adversary is far beyond your skills.
Whoa, hey, slow down, Estinian. I mean, he's kind of like... he's tried, you know? He's been through a lot. We fought Bahamut. I guess you don't know that. I mean, Bahamut is like... bigger than this guy, right? Than Nidhogg? I guess Alphino wasn't actually there when we fought Nidhogg. He was just kind of holding the fort or something like that. Still.
Your candor is appreciated, Sir Dragoon. I shall remain then and cheer you from afar.
Wait, so actually how does this work then? Because this should have duty support, right? And I know there's actually... well, I guess we'll get to it when we get to it, but there's a story behind this.
Well, my friend, it would seem I have discouraged the last of the volunteers, and claimed the task as ours alone. But if any alive can best this worm, 'tis surely we too.
Well, hate to tell you, Estinian, but dungeons usually require 4 people, unless we're going in unsynced, just you and me. So who's healing? Because it's not going to be me. I think I've got just the basic healing ability that every DPS has. Dancers get like a little heal that they can put on their dance partner. If we made Estinian our dance partner, we could double the heal. I don't think that's what he's going to do though. He doesn't look like the dancing type. I have pricked Master Alphino's pride, I fear. But had I been less forceful, the boy would have insisted on accompanying us to the Eyrie. Do not think me blind to his talent. With a few more campaigns under his belt, I have no doubt that Alfinode will make a fine field commander. But one does not practice on an adversary such as Nidhogg. We shall be hard-pressed enough without the added worry of carrying a novice. Into the area, and the last Aether Current for the Turning Mist. Oh, and the Mana Cutter, it's a mount. In case that wasn't obvious. We have tarried long enough. Let us call upon Master Garland and take possession of the Mana Cutters. Well, if Estinian said we've tarried long enough, then instead of walking, we'll use the Ethernet. He's in a hurry. And when we go inside, the sound goes off. Oh, he's not here. Sound back on. Oh, it's actually flying. The moment is at hand, Warrior of Light. I guarantee you won't find any loose rivets. We triple-checked. These little beauties are a pride and joy, and now they're yours. So, be careful with them, eh? Go, boy, old friend. The cutters are ready when you are. The finer adjustments cost us a few sleepless nights, but we got there in the end. Which means you can get where you need to go. I tell you, these little beauties will tear through that wind barrier like a thermite drill through cottage cheese. That was that, my friends. Oh, and that, my friends, is a Garland Ironworks guarantee. You have our thanks. Come, Warrior of Light. The dread worm awaits. We should have just flown these all the way here in the first place, rather than go all the way up the mountain. Walking on foot all the way there. The Chocobo Forest. Well, whatever. The entrance for the area is here. That's weird. I always thought it was, well, you know, where you could see the area from right here. This little place. Huh. I guess not. Oh, okay. Kind of weird to have a dungeon entrance inside the city. Feels like it's, tracking some dirt in, you know? In a place of what's supposed to be peace. It's bringing in all this violence and whatever. But it's not like this is the last time, or maybe not even the first time they've done it. Whatever. To the Mana Cutters, Warrior of Light. The dread worm awaits. Okay, just the same dialogue. Give that overgrown lizard a kick in the tail from me, eh? We'll be waiting for you, Gomoy. Alright, so here's the question. First a preface, before I get the answer. This dungeon has changed since it was released in Heavensward, and maybe several times, but at least the version that I remember, Estinian was an assist in the dungeon, and like mechanically part of fights or something, specifically the boss fight or whatever, the final boss fight. He wasn't like a party member or anything like that. There wasn't duty support or anything like that back then. So he was just kind of like a stage hazard, opposite of that, a stage ally or something. And you had to kind of work with him as an NPC. There are some mechanics to it that I can explain when we get there, if I remember them. But now that they added duty support, I fully expected him to just be part of the party alongside Alfinode, and well, I guess Ysael wouldn't have joined us, so we would have filled out the 4th slot. But now that Alfinode's sitting out, that just causes even more questions of who's going to fill in the healing slot. And the answer is... oh. It's just boring NPCs. I thought we were done with this. I thought from this point on it would just be like scions and whatever named NPCs are related to like the story, whatever. At least for the story dungeons, but we just kind of got these guys. If we were to become like the tank, there's no way I'm going in as this, but yeah, we just get some banneret, a little lancer guy. So yeah, we get a banneret, a temple Kyrusian, and a temple knight. I'm kind of conflicted, because back in A Realm Reborn, I decided not to do these dungeons with the duty support when it was the nameless NPCs, because it didn't feel very interesting. But because Estinian is here as an ally, it would feel wrong not to include him, so I guess I will do this with duty support rather than real players. Just for Estinian. At least I don't have to wait. We look silly. The chair's too big for us. It's not very safe if your back doesn't reach the back. Oh, there's the Nidhogg. He's right there. Still haven't paid off the loans on that thing. So actually, how much of this intro is new? Okay, and there comes Estinian. I believe in the original version of this dungeon, Estinian doesn't accompany you all the way through. I don't think so. So maybe just for this new version, they added him in, following you just there at the end of that cutscene. I think that cutscene is mostly the same. Alright guys. What have we got? Any dialogue? Anything fun to say? Specifically you, Estinian. It'll show up in the chat bar, or the chat window. If they do, but... looks like nothing. This is kind of the only reason I'd like to bring along the NPCs. Just so I get their little comments about this and that. Like those. Sometimes they talk to each other too, but it's more interesting when they're characters you actually know. Don't mind us, we're just getting some aggro. Now whip out your crossbow. And this is just a dead end? At least it's not a completely linear path. I mean, it still is, but If it was just visually a completely linear path, then that would just be too much, you know? What exactly is this? I never really put much thought into it. What are we standing on here? Since it's part of the training mist, I assume it's all more floating rocks, as we've seen before, just with what I assume to be more ancient Ishgardian architecture that they built in the Dragon Age or whatever it was called 1,000 years ago. Something that Nidhogg repurposed into his lair by gathering a bunch of branches like a bird or something, and crystals and whatever. I assume it didn't always look like this. Oops, that was the wrong one to put it on. A lot of these are just floating because, or they're just floating even though they aren't. Well, the rocks that I expect to float. They're just like architecture floating. So I guess there's something around here that's making things float other than natural causes, or is it magic? Dragon magic? Or something? Alright, first boss. It's Rengda. This guy has mechanics. A lot of players online don't know this mechanic. When you do Duty Finder or whatever and you just randomly get this dungeon. Oh, is it time for Tactician? Yep, that was our first proper use of Tactician, I guess. Shielding the team. That's the one thing ranged DPS can do. Other than, well, the thing that magic and melee DPS can't do. Although I guess... Oh, whoops. Right, the mechanic. I was too busy thinking about if red mages can do shielding, and they can do it, against magical attacks or whatever. But yeah, I forgot to do the mechanic. Okay, Istinian did the mechanic. So we got it on screen even if I didn't do it. Just attach a tether to the statue. Honestly, I didn't even notice the tether attached to me. I was too busy thinking.
Your guard is down. Know your folly.
Here I was, talking about mechanics that players don't know. And as soon as the battle starts, I get the mechanic and I don't do it. Let's just say I was reenacting what most players do. Just to record it for posterity or whatever. Anyway, it's a pretty simple mechanic, it doesn't really matter. I'm surprised I didn't die though. My gear isn't actually that good. Oh wait, it is actually, right. I equipped the level 60 gear from the machinist stuff. I always thought this was a weird part of the dungeon, where they just make you drop down. I mean, you drop down in a lot of dungeons, but that one's just kind of more unclean than other drops in other dungeons. And now we're inside. And there's a terrible dragon. Don't mind us, just drawing aggro. Do we want this? I guess we can sell it. Oh, it's just die. In that case, it's just taking up the inventory space.
Your guard is down.
As expected, only Estinian has interesting things to say. At least they are talking to each other, so these guys aren't just sitting here silently, but... Ah. It's hard to do these AoEs when you tank all the way over there. No, I could have grabbed aggro here. Oops. There's usually a limit to how many mobs can be placed wall to wall. I guess it's a limit that the developers set for themselves. Usually 2 groups of mobs, and then a wall. And then after that wall, there are 2 more groups of mobs with a wall, and then the boss, and that's the usual pattern. Sometimes there are actually 3 groups of mobs, or more even, depending on the dungeon. Earlier dungeons might break the rule just because they're weird like that, but some later dungeons break the rule just because they know what they're doing, I guess. It's at times like those, when you're playing in an online party, that it gets pretty interesting if you try to grab 3 groups of mobs. I can think of one in particular. Oh really, Estinian? Is this one stronger? What? Leave the vanguard to him? You're the tank! This is why we can't trust you, nameless NPCs. Mess that up, that rotation. Do I still have enough time? I do. Barely. Was that the full 6? I'm not sure.
I will end your struggles.
You doing a limit break, Estinian?
I will end your struggles.
Okay, go ahead, do it. It was pretty cool. This guy doesn't have any mechanics, unless you count putting down circles on the floor that are not the usual circles, a mechanic. Here we are. These circles are just kind of harder to see because there's smoke. I overcapped there on battery. Almost got us with that. Oh, I should be using Tactician. Like, from an ideal standpoint, I don't actually need to use Tactician. You never actually have to use Tactician unless you're like in super duper endgame stuff where people have to use all of their abilities. Which is stuff that I never play. No, I guess I forgot to get the other chest from the first boss. Oh well. I didn't deserve that chest, I got hit by the mechanic. And now we're out of the nest and back on more Ishgardian architecture, I guess. Ah, here we are. Another one of these atypical wall sections, or wall assortments, or whatever. In this case, there is only one mob before the wall, but I think it gets interesting after this.
Your guard is down.
And defeating the mob causes some kind of tremor, and that thing falls down. Okay, so here, I think there's actually like, well, you can't really define it as two groups of mobs. Unless you can? No, wait. No, this is less interesting than I thought it was. I thought we would go up another ramp and there would be like a total of 4 groups of mobs, just like smaller than usual, but turns out it's just these two. Were there actually more than 2 groups of mobs up this set of stairs? Not really. I guess the one thing is that rather than just straight up 2 groups of mobs, they have a gauntlet here, which is actually fairly interesting. I can just trigger it by walking in, right? Yeah. Maybe I should have waited, make this more cinematic if we can. I'll get up on that platform or whatever. Wasn't really a huge time save to drag this one voiceover or whatever. Is the knight about to die because I dragged one too many guys over? He might. Okay, he lived. I just thought he could handle multiple mobs or something. Don't die on us now, there's more coming. It'd be kind of a waste to use this. Actually, I guess I can. I thought the Rook would maybe be overkill here, but these guys are taking a while to die. And then even more. Just a whole slew of them. It's pretty crazy. I kind of like this. It's different from just pulling mobs wall to wall. And then that's it. Kind of a gauntlet right before the final boss. So what's interesting here, before we trigger the cutscene, is that Estinian would just stand around as a kind of NPC during the battle. You'd have to mind his health or whatever a little bit. Healers would have to heal him if necessary, and DPS and the tanks had to prevent a bunch of ads, I guess, from coming in during the boss battle. It was actually a fairly interesting boss battle just because you had, well, it was one of the rare occasions where you had an NPC along. In fact, I guess it might be even one of the only occasions that I can think an NPC came along for that sort of thing. But now it's all just this, duty support basically. So it's just a normal dungeon, I guess. Which is fine, I suppose, maybe that makes it more streamlined or whatever. But I guess it's just missing a little bit of that old uniqueness or something. It doesn't really matter. I guess this will be my first time actually experiencing this version of the battle. Or no, wait. I did actually play it on my main character through duty roulette or whatever, this new version. Without Estinian. Surprise, surprise, the boss is Nidhogg. Surprising no one, I guess, but I guess the only weird thing is that, well, he's a boss here in a dungeon rather than a trial. The way we talked about him like he was hot shit or whatever, it feels like he might have needed more guys than 4 or whatever. We fought Ravana with Aid, and he seemed like he was smaller potatoes than this guy, the way people treated him. He's got Hot Tail and Hot Wing, to do very obvious things. And this thing, which a lot of people die to because they don't see the circle on the floor. Just remember what that looks like, it's not the last time we're gonna see that. A lot of dragons like that attack. So I think around this point, Nidhogg would like disappear from the battle in the original version. And you would have to protect Estinian from a bunch of ads or something. And he would charge up like a shield with the eye to prevent Nidhogg's attack from killing you. No longer does that. Oh cool, we're getting stable priced. And we're down. This is something that kills a lot of people online because a lot of players just don't realize their teammate is getting stable priced, and then they end up dying while levitating or something. All you have to do is attack the stable price or whatever that's keeping them in place. The NPCs know to do it. Oh, here we go. I guess we still do have the ad phase. Good thing I have all this crossbow saved up. Yeah, so now Nidhogg's Rancor is a pretty standard thing. Just defeat the ants before his bar fills up. But in the original version, you have to worry about Estinian's house. Oh wow, that did more damage than I thought. Probably should have kept my eyes on the boss. I thought Estinian was going to do a thing. But that was only in the old version. Right. Oh, wrong attack. What's this he's got? Oh, his strength is limited by the eye. I guess they do that for lore reasons, to make you realize that he's weaker than he normally would be. No, it was over already. No, they actually don't play the music here. I thought they always played the music, regardless of, like, whether it was serious or not. Oh wait, there it is. Yep, as expected. Anything to say? He should have used the limit break at the end there. Actually, Estinian should have used the limit break, but I guess he did something cool in the cutscene, so it's fine. Yeah, as expected. These guys nothing to say. At least they emote. When Estinian said this, I thought he would, I don't know, do something on the field, but yeah. I don't hate this new version, and you do get to actually go to the dungeon, the entire dungeon, with Estinian, so it gets points for that. Just going back and redoing all the dungeons so that you can actually play through them with your beloved NPC companions, that's great and all, but it does limit some of these mechanics when they already had things in place for them, like this one. What's that? Some kind of spear? Yeah, it's a Lancer spear. You want this, Estinian? Probably not. His is special, I guess. Thou wouldst use mine own eye against me? Time has done naught to dilute thy kind's depravity. I have not forgotten thee, Dragoon. Mine essence claimed thee once, and shall do so again. This is referring to the Dragoon quest up to level 50 in A Realm Reborn. As I mentioned before, you meet Estinian during those, and you kind of help him out when he has an episode of being taken over. But he got better.
No worm! This ends here!
See? He's better. Estinian's doing Dragoon shit. He's red.
You gifted my people 1,000 years of suffering. Now I gift you an eternity in darkness.
Alright, Nastanian, calm down. I mean, it was cool, but still. I mean, we can let him have his win, right? Oh, another one of these, then? How much does it make this? 3? I guess we are about halfway through the story, based on the levels. Level 55 is the main quest we're on now. The electric one, I guess that makes sense. The area is electric. I guess Nidhogg is more fire than electric, but I guess the whole stage was electric. And the Echo, a flashback.
They are ours, Lord Eldrath. The eyes of Nidhogg.
The eyes. Both of them.
Aye. The worm lies broken and my father is avenged. With the wellspring of his vitality thus denied him, Nidhogg shall not linger long in this world. But behold the terrible price we have paid. My sire is dead. So many brother knights slain. We traded our honor for the strength which now courses in our veins. And still we are forced to make such sacrifice.
But not in vain, my lord. Hreysvelgr is the only great worm left in Dravania, and he dares not leave his lair. With Nidhogg's eyes in your possession, who now can challenge the might of Ishgard, ascend the throne, and take your rightful place as the ruler of our people?
Nay, my friend. I must forsake the mantle of king. Though Nidhogg be defeated, his wormling horde yet darkens the skies with wings beyond counting. As one who partook of Ratatoska's strength, it shall be my penance to bear a knight's arms until death grants me leave to retire. When that day comes, no prince shall perish, but a hell's-bound hunter of dragons.
My penance to bear a knight's arms, till death grants me leave to retire. Is he the Forgotten Knight? I don't remember. Probably not.
But Lord Haldreth, what then shall become of the royal line?
Think of your people, my lord. Without a king, who will the common man turn to in his hour of need? How will he find his way without your benevolent hand to guide him?
I thank you, Sir Flavian and Sir Silvertrill, for dispelling my remaining doubts. With men of such wisdom and compassion in service to the realm, 'tis plain that Ishgard has no need of a king. But if you must bow to the demands of tradition, you need look no further than yourselves for one worthy to wear the crown. Fare thee well, my brother knights, my loyal friends. On these shoulders shall I bear the weight of my father's sins. With this lance,
Shall I repay the debt accrued through our misdeeds?
Yeah? Well, I don't think you did, because there was 1,000 years of suffering after this. Probably could have done more than take up a spear if you were truly, I don't know, repentful. But who am I to judge?
What cruel jest has fate played upon us? Have we seized this desperate victory only to lose a king?
We can but act as our lord has bid. We few who remain must divide between us the rulership of Ishgard and her people.
Not I. My oath was to Lord Haldrath, and he alone. If he is not to be king, then I would hang up my shield as well.
Will you abandon us too, sir?
I would wash my hands of blood and betrayal, and take up an honest trade. Mayhap I shall serve ale instead of sharpened steel.
Okay, there he is. The Forgotten Knight. For some reason I remember the Forgotten Knight was relevant to, like, this. But it was this guy. Just some guy. Doesn't even have his name. For a nameless NPC, this one's alright. Even though he was kind of part of all this, so maybe not all that alright. The Forgotten Knight being the bar where we made our stay.
We four, then.
Forton, Hylanat, Dyrendare, and Zemail.
I'm sorry, it's Hylanart? Like with an L? I thought it was like Hyanart, Hyanarte even. But you're telling me it's Hylanart? That's gonna take some getting used to. Maybe I just never have to say it ever again after this. Probably not.
But 4 houses to rule all of Ishgard.
And what of the throne?
We keep it empty. Until the day a king rises once more, we must assume the role of stewards. We shall shape our nation anew with a history of our own making, and let the truth of this dark day die here, upon the battlefield.
Yeah, if only it were that simple.
What ails you, friend? Are you wounded?
What you got there, Estinian?
You have borne witness to history. To the culmination of the first battle with Nidhogg. The legend of Ishgard's founding tells that our ancestors were led to the land of Kurthus by the valiant King Thordan. In the midst of their journey, they came to a wide chasm, where they were set upon by a great worm, Nidhogg. A furious battle then ensued, with Thordan leading the van. Though the brave king was slain defending his people, his son, Haldrath, the first Azure Dragoon, fought on undaunted. And with a mighty thrust of his lance, he gouged out Nidhogg's eye, forcing the wicked creature into retreat.
Yeah, that's not what we saw.
Thus, did this eldritch orb become a sacred treasure of Ishgard, lending its power to every knight deemed worthy to bear the title of Azure Dragoon.
You wanna hold those up side by side, maybe?
A rousing tale, is it not? Would that I could still believe it. But your vision, which we must accept as immutable truth, leaves no room for doubt, save on one point. If Huldreth took both of Nidhogg's eyes, then how came this eye to be lodged in the worm's skull?
What, we can have it?
Beneath every answer we unearth, another question lies buried.
I guess we get to carry an eye around ourselves now. We're just like you, Estinian, except we're not dragoons.
"'Twas a fierce battle, but one I knew we would win. Your fame is well deserved, warrior of light. Full proud am I to have fought at your side. I would fain return with all swiftness to Ishgard to inform the Lord Commander of our triumph. But we must first have words with Hraesvelgr. There are parts of this tale that the worm has kept from us, and I would know wherefore."
And we'll talk to Hraesvelgr. Immediately. Though Nidhogg is fallen, my heart is yet heavy, and this stain of corruption pleases me not. When all has been put to rest, I must needs forge my armor anew. What, you can't just wash it off? Okay. I said immediately, but it'll probably have to be next episode. Now where is that thing? With Nidhogg fallen, none save Hraesvelgr remains to answer our questions. Let us trouble the worm again. And if Ice Heart yet lingers at Zenith, all the better. I would have her hear the truth from the dragon's maw. Okay, so she did just actually hang out there for a while. Maybe she was camping or something. It feels like it's been several days. It has for me. Where did I? There it is. Let's maybe put that on the hotbar down. Only want to use it while flying. I don't feel like using it when we don't have flying unlocked, so I don't know, just put it down here. Why not? We can fly now with the Encoder. It's kinda huge. Pretty sweet though. It's always nice when the main story gives you a free mount. This isn't exactly the perfect weather for flying around in. At least we can see some parts of the map we haven't seen before. Like this House of Letters, which I think is inaccessible until you can fly. Here it is, the House of Letters. It is a big, dilapidated stone tower. That's pretty much it. I guess there's a corner over here we haven't seen. Later. After we're done with Hraesvelgr. We are now, well, still on level 55 quests. So defeating Nidhogg is just the halfway point for the Heavensward story. What more could there be? Is he the main villain of the Heavensward story? I mean, kind of. It's like dragons versus Ishgard, right? So that's kind of the whole plot that they've been throwing around at us. And now it's over. Sort of. Right? Isn't it? Doesn't matter. Estinian wants to talk to Hraesvelgr, so that's what we're gonna do. But we'll probably save it for next time. Not probably, we're definitely going to. And we gotta talk down there, but now that we have flying, let's go to the actual highest point in Zenith. Not here. Little higher. And unless we can actually stand on the tip of this thing here, which I don't think we can. Can we land here? No. This is the highest point in Venus. The view is terrible right now. You can barely just see the point of... What is this place called again? This mountain. I forget what it's called. Is the mountain called Venus? I don't think it is. Somal, that's what it's called. You can barely just see the peak of Somal through the fog, but nothing else. Which is a shame. It's such a shame that Komoy is going to stand here and wait until the weather clears up and she gets a better view. That would be a good time to take a break.